I know my boundaries. I want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua's. I know
he
I
just
will
got
beat.
knocked out, right?
Yeah. He doesn't have a chin and he has no skill and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. All this, but I want to fight you.
AJ this morning, he went, listen, of course, I'd fight. I mean, you know, if the question was asked to Jai, would you fight Jake Paul? And there was...
I wouldn't fight him, I'd bash him.
Yeah, but he might do it. He might just do it for, you know, just for doing it for the sake of it. But obviously, we know. Listen, Jake creates massive events.
Look into the camera and say it directly because it just has to be said. Jake Paul, sir, you are absolutely delusional.
Jake Paul has been vocal about wanting to face top-tier boxers, and now Anthony Joshua has responded. Speaking to his promoter, Eddie Hearn, Joshua simply said, "Listen, I'd fight him." Hearn shared this revelation, emphasizing that AJ never shies away from a challenge. While a fight between the two seems highly unlikely due to the vast difference in experience, Joshua's willingness to entertain the idea has certainly sparked interest. Whether Paul is serious about stepping into the ring with AJ or just building hype remains to be seen. But one thing is clear, Joshua is always ready.
We're here, I want to ask you a question because the world of media went mental this morning. Anthony Joshua against Jake Paul. Please put this to bed or light the fire. What's going on?
I mean, sorry. This is the first time I've spoken about the fight. To be honest, like, I look at it and I think Jake Paul against Anthony Joshua. I mean, look, for me, we'd do it for the banter. Do you know what I mean? Like, AJ would fight Jake Paul. He'd fight anyone, to be honest with you. And if Jake Paul wants to step up and fight Anthony Joshua, he'll need the relevant insurance. But, you know, the only thing that was disappointing was he says 2026. I mean, that's like calling someone out. That's like me saying, you know, LA Olympics for the surfing 2028, I'll be there. Do you know what I mean? Do it in 2025 if you really want to do it. You're not going to get really much better at this stage, but I don't know, those two have spoken. I spoke to AJ this morning, he went, listen, of course, I'd fight. I mean, you know, if the question was asked to Jai, would you fight Jake Paul? And there was...
I wouldn't fight him, I'd bash him.
Yeah, but he might do it. He might just do it for, you know, just for doing it for the sake of it. But obviously, we know. Listen, Jake creates massive events, right? You know that's going to create like unbelievable viewership. And no disrespect to Jake Paul, it's a straightforward night's work. But you know, I like this calling out of Canelo and all this. AJ it's another challenge up there. But you know, if they're game, why not?
What did he say, AJ, to you about it?
He said, why not? I said, what do you want me to say when I'm asked about it? And he said, tell everyone I'll fight anyone, anytime. It's not a problem for me.
Jake Paul has set his sights on Anthony Joshua, claiming AJ has no chin, no skills, and is stiff. The YouTuber-turned-boxer took to Twitter, posting a picture of Joshua on a phone call with the caption, "Look who called. 2026 Anthony Joshua." Paul insists he would dominate the former heavyweight champion, stirring up speculation. In response, Joshua shared a screenshot on Instagram showing himself on a call with Jake Paul. This post came shortly after Paul publicly called him out, fueling speculation about a potential fight. Meanwhile, Jake also shared a post from Beaver for Sports, which revealed, "Jake Paul sent me his list of desired fights for 2025 and 2026 on February 10th, 3 days after the Canelo matchup fell apart. On that list were 6 fighters, and one of them was Anthony Joshua. I called Jake to make sure he was serious. Unequivocally, he was and is." The boxing community has had strong reactions to Paul's challenge, with many believing that his ambition to fight a seasoned heavyweight like Joshua is unrealistic and overly ambitious.
The real deal respond to me as I tweeted my thoughts about delusion, which again, I think is more about what Jake said about Anthony Joshua and what he'll do to him. That was the more delusional aspect of this. Amanda Serrano said, "At Jake Paul is the truth. Funny, they say he's a fraud for wanting easy fights. Then he asked for the toughest fights ever and they say he's nuts. Listen, he was scheduled to fight Canelo Gervonta, and now he's calling out Joshua. Come on, who else is doing this? Oh crap, on second thought, he is out of his freaking mind, you're right." That was more of just Amanda backing her guy, you know what I'm saying, the co-founder of MVP and someone that she really respects. And
Adding to the complexity of Jake Paul's boxing endeavors, reports suggest that he is also scheduled to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. This development comes on the heels of Davis's recent controversial match against Lamont Roach. Despite this potential matchup, Paul has continued to publicly express his desire to face Anthony Joshua, signaling his ambition to take on high-profile opponents across multiple weight classes. His willingness to challenge both a dominant lightweight in Tank Davis and a former heavyweight champion like Joshua highlights his determination to shake up the boxing world.
Gervonta Davis, and she's not the only one saying that. Dan Rafael said the same thing earlier that day, or maybe yesterday. I can't believe that that's true, or if that was really going to happen. Essentially, the idea being, had Gervonta Davis beat Lamont Roach, he was going to fight Jake Paul next. And this is why I say, like, it's delusional, but it's possible. Like, he almost had the Canelo fight, and think what you will about how that went down and how realistic that was going to be. I legit think it was probably close to happening. Now you're telling me there were discussions and potentially, signed to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. And again, I do believe the reason for that is Jake's massive size advantage. Again, that's like a 100-pound weight advantage. How would that even work?
In the aftermath of his bout with Lamont Roach, Gervonta Tank Davis used the post-fight conference to call out Jake Paul. This unexpected challenge adds another twist to the ongoing saga of Paul's boxing career, further fueling speculation about his next move. With both Davis and Anthony Joshua now linked to potential matchups with Paul, his willingness to take on high-profile opponents across different weight classes continues to be a major talking point in the boxing world.
Who were you going to call out? What was the plan originally?
I think he was here. He came in my locker room.
Shakur Stevenson?
He wasn't in my locker room.
Jake Paul?
Next question.
Man, god damn, that's not the Gervonta I know.
Jake Paul's audacious call-out of Anthony Joshua, a two-time unified heavyweight champion, has raised eyebrows across the boxing world. Many find it astonishing that Paul, with his relatively limited experience, would make such bold claims about a fighter of Joshua's caliber. While Paul has shown confidence in challenging elite opponents, the sheer gap in skill, size, and experience between him and Joshua has left fans and analysts questioning the legitimacy of his challenge.
Jake Paul has just called Anthony Joshua out. Yes, Anthony Joshua, AJ, the two-time unified heavyweight champion of the world. This brother called this man out. Oh my God. Now, in a recent clip on Jake Paul's podcast, I think, he basically said that he will beat Anthony Joshua's ass and he has no skill, no chin, and he's too stiff for him. He also apologized to Anthony, saying, Anthony, I'm sorry, we're friends, but I know I can beat your ass. This guy is tapped in the head. Then again, he almost got a fight with Tank. If Tank beat Lamont Roach when they drew, he would have fought Jake Paul. It was lined up, basically. A lot of people get mad when people say he's the face of boxing. These highly rated boxers want to fight Jake Paul. So, I don't know what to say, honestly. But one thing for sure, AJ will never fight. AJ is too classy for that. Way too classy. He respects the sport of boxing too much to fight this guy. Absolute plonker. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments and make sure you follow for the most up-to-date and sharpest boxing news and content on TikTok.
The boxing community has been quick to react to Jake Paul's comments about Anthony Joshua. Critics have pointed to Paul's previous loss to Tommy Fury, questioning his credibility in assessing Joshua's abilities. One Twitter user, Unanimous Decision, expressed disbelief, posting, YouTube boxer Jake Paul, who lost to Tommy Fury, says heavyweight Anthony Joshua has no chin, no skill, is stiff, and that he would beat him. What the hell is this guy talking about? Despite the skepticism, Joshua has shown openness to the challenge. He reportedly told his promoter, Eddie Hearn, "Listen, I'd fight him." Hearn revealed this exchange, emphasizing Joshua's willingness to step in the ring with anyone. However, many in the boxing world see the potential matchup as unrealistic due to the vast difference in experience and skill between the two fighters. Some observers have even described the idea as delusional, questioning both the legitimacy and competitiveness of such a bout.
Well then, it looks like Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul might be in discussions to fight. They were both on a call to each other earlier, and the viral video went round of Jake Paul saying he would knock out Anthony Joshua. If I'm being completely honest, I think Jake Paul would actually be lucky to make it out alive, and I'm actually being dead serious. I think Jake Paul would be lucky to make it out of the ring with Anthony Joshua alive. Tyron Woodley literally had Jake Paul on skates and had Jake Paul panicking for his life. Imagine what Anthony Joshua would do. Look at what Joshua did to the last non-boxer he fought in, Francis Ngannou. That is not going to end well for Jake Paul. But look, let's be real here. This fight should never happen. It's an absolute disgrace to the sport if it does. And yeah, there's got to be a lot of backlash if this actually happens, because it's actually probably worse to the sport of boxing than what Fury Ngannou was when it came around, or you know, yeah, or Mayweather McGregor. Like, you know, it can't happen.
MMA fighter Anthony Smith has weighed in on Jake Paul's approach to boxing, suggesting that Paul strategically targets legendary fighters to secure lucrative paydays. Smith implies that Paul's method involves provoking established names through trash talk, ultimately leading to high-profile bouts with major financial rewards. This perspective aligns with ongoing criticism of Paul's matchmaking strategy, which often involves facing older or less active fighters rather than prime contenders. Boxing purists have long debated the legitimacy of his career, arguing that while he brings attention to the sport, his opponent's selection raises questions about true competition.
If Jake Paul beats Anderson Silva, we should all fucking boycott the rest of his fights until he fucking fights someone that's on his level or whatever level we deem him to be on. You talk all this shit about MMA fighters, you talk shit about the UFC, then you pretend that you want to bring fighters up and you want everyone to get paid better, but then you trash everyone every time they fight. Now we're putting food on your fucking table for you to drag our legends, older, shorter, smaller, past their prime legends that have spent their entire careers running their bodies into fucking car accidents, and then we hold these guys near and dear to our heart. And then this fuckhead just pulls them out of fucking semi-retirement and then just knocks them out in fucking pay-per-view and then she'll shits on all of us. Like, go fuck yourself. Like, why are we still fucking pandering to this piece of shit?
Jake Paul's ambitions extend beyond boxing, as he has also expressed interest in fighting MMA star Conor McGregor. Paul has claimed that his boxing skills are steadily improving while suggesting that McGregor's abilities are declining with age. This assertion has been met with skepticism, given McGregor's extensive combat sports background and accomplishments. Many believe that despite McGregor's inactivity, he remains a dangerous opponent with elite striking skills. Paul's comments reflect both his confidence and his calculated strategy of calling out high-profile athletes to elevate his own standing in the combat sports world. Whether a fight between Paul and McGregor materializes remains to be seen, but his willingness to take on big names continues to generate headlines.
You think McGregor's done?
I think he has to come back and fight, but he needs to win.
Will he fight you?
I don't think he will. I think my skill level is outgrowing his in boxing, and I have the height advantage. He can't beat me, and I think he probably knows that. And time, he's only getting older, and I'm only getting better.
Many fans are eager to see a fight between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul, largely because they believe Joshua would dominate and humble Paul in the ring. Paul's history of calling out elite fighters and claiming superiority over them has made him one of the most polarizing figures in combat sports. Critics argue that Paul's confidence in challenging Joshua is unrealistic, given the vast disparity in experience, skill, and weight class. Despite this, the mere possibility of such a fight has generated massive interest, with some fans hoping Joshua would be the one to silence Paul's bold claims once and for all inside the ring.
You have got to be taking the mick. Jake Paul has called out Anthony Joshua and claims, I will fucking beat Anthony Joshua's ass. You know what? I want this to happen, just so Anthony Joshua could just absolutely decimate this man right here. So first he fights Tommy Fury, a legitimate professional boxer, and he loses. Then he fights an OAP and Mike Tyson and beats him. Obviously, he's nearly 60 years old. Then he goes to try and fight Canelo, which fell through, thankfully. Then he tried to fight Tank Davis, which again fell through. And now he wants to fight Anthony Joshua, a legit world-level heavyweight boxer. Anthony Joshua is someone that I've always looked up to and probably one of my favourite boxers to this day and age. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind Jake Paul here and there, but there's just things he does in the sport that I don't agree with at all. And fighting Anthony Joshua, listen, I'm all here for it, just to see him get knocked clean out. The fact that he thinks he can compete with these high-level boxers, even though he lost to Tommy Fury, is just laughable. But how long does it take for Anthony Joshua to knock Jake Paul out? I'm saying 5 seconds.
Anthony Joshua has finally shared his thoughts on Jake Paul's growing influence in boxing. While acknowledging that Paul lacks mature experience as a boxer, Joshua admitted that Paul has been beneficial for the sport, particularly in terms of financial success and generating big paydays. Joshua recognizes that Paul's ability to attract attention and sell fights has introduced a new audience to boxing, something that traditional purists may not always appreciate. Despite the controversy surrounding Paul's matchmaking and credentials, Joshua's comments suggest that he sees the YouTuber-turned-boxer as a valuable, albeit unconventional, addition to the sport.
Jake Paul?
Yeah, good. Great for boxing. Good luck to him. He's trying. Zero amateur experience. Throwing himself in the deep end. I guarantee you he'll probably learn a lot more than a lot of fighters will that are just half-hearted with it. Man's throwing himself in the deep end, putting himself under pressure. When you can deal with that amount of pressure, you have to get better at it. So yeah.
Interestingly, Jake Paul has long expressed admiration for Anthony Joshua, even calling him one of his favorite fighters. Despite his recent trash talk, Paul has previously praised Joshua's accomplishments and boxing skills. However, Paul's latest statements suggest growing frustration with the boxing industry. He claims that too much focus is placed on money and politics rather than making the biggest fights happen. His shift in tone reflects his ongoing struggle to break into elite-level matchups, as he continues to push for high-profile fights while challenging the sport's traditional structures.
Everyone's been wanting to see it happen. Who will be the king of the United Kingdom? And who will be the queen of the United... Too soon? I'm praying that boxing doesn't happen to this fight, and what I mean by that is politics, people trying to take more money than they deserve. Fuck the money, get in there, make fucking history. This is one of the biggest fights that could happen over this past decade. Make it fucking happen, Eddie Hearn. Make it fucking happen, Frank Warren. Make it happen, Tyson. Make it happen, Anthony Joshua. We don't need fucking excuses. Don't let boxing ruin this fight. Get in the fucking ring and fight like men.
Jake Paul has boldly declared himself the only real fighter in boxing, claiming that he is the one who truly brings excitement and energy to the sport. While many traditional boxers dismiss YouTube boxing altogether, Anthony Joshua has taken a more balanced approach. Joshua has acknowledged that YouTube boxing has been beneficial for the sport, helping to attract a new audience and increase overall viewership. He recognizes that fighters like Jake Paul have introduced boxing to younger fans who may not have previously been interested, ultimately contributing to the sport's growth, whether purists like it or not.
What do you make of this YouTube
10 out of 10.
boxing scene?
I'm telling you, it's good for boxing because I'm saying it's showing people you can fight someone that is well-known, credible, can fight, marketable, without a championship and have that same effect early on in your career, and you can still get all the rewards anyway. So I think that they're showing guys, oh, hang on a minute, there's so much potential in boxing regardless of championships. And I think it's good because now people start taking more risks early on. These guys coming into the game are changing the landscape for the better, showcasing that if you have a business mind on, marketable, creative, content driven, obviously talented, you can generate big business and do great things.
Jake Paul has made a habit of calling out boxing legends, offering them big paydays, and then trash-talking them after their fights. Despite suffering his first professional loss against Tommy Fury, Paul continues to position himself as the biggest draw in boxing. His ability to generate buzz and sell fights has kept him relevant, even as critics question the legitimacy of his career. While traditional boxing fans remain skeptical, Paul's showmanship and marketing skills have undeniably made him one of the most talked-about figures in the sport today.
Who is the most power you've ever felt in a fight?
I would say Tommy Fury. It's the shots you don't see. So Tommy was a little tricky. Mike's punches I could see coming. He was strong, but he didn't land anything clean. So I honestly didn't feel Mike Tyson's full power, but that's good. I mean, you don't want to. So
I feel like he lost confidence second round. Like he stopped giving his all.
He just started surviving.
One of the most controversial moments in Jake Paul's career was his decision to call out Mike Tyson. As a former heavyweight champion and one of the most feared fighters in boxing history, Tyson was far past his prime when Paul mentioned the possibility of a fight. Although Paul later secured a victory in a separate bout, many fans were outraged at the idea of him challenging an aging legend like Tyson. The backlash was intense, with critics accusing Paul of disrespecting Tyson's legacy and exploiting older fighters for publicity and financial gain. The incident further fueled the ongoing debate about Paul's impact on the sport, whether he's bringing fresh attention to boxing or simply capitalizing on its biggest names.
Wasn't the Tyson-Jake fight, wasn't that amazing?
Yeah. It's amazing they got paid so much money for that.
25 million and 40 million?
I think 20 and 40. Yeah, I think that's what I'd heard. You know, which I'm happy Mike got the money, and I'm happy that he didn't get hurt. That was my fear, that it was going to be a real fight and he was going to get hurt.
You've known him for a long time. I've known him for a long time.
I love that dude.
Me too.
And he was a larger-than-life figure in my childhood.
Truly, me
when
too.
I was a kid, when he was the champ, it was like people don't understand what a champ he was. Like he wasn't just the heavyweight champ of the world. He was an executioner. Like
Truly.
Every fight was just a matter of how long was it going to last.
Which fight it was that I went to go see a couple of fights, and I actually went to go see Julio Cesar Chavez fight, and that's when I met Tyson in the green room.
Watching Netflix on Friday night, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson? Yes, I was. But what did I make of it? I think commercially and a business sense, thought it was absolutely fantastic. Both men made a ton of money. So best luck to them. Congratulations. As far as the boxing fight, it wasn't a fight. It was a tip and tap. Don't hit me, I won't hit you. Circle the ring a little bit. Make it look good. That's all it was. So I don't really make too much of it.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Knockout Chronicles for all the latest boxing news and analysis. See you in the next one. Fire Boxing Glove #Knockout Chronicles.